All right, welcome. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Happy Saturday, everybody. We have a lot to get into. I want to talk about Jamar Chase today. I certainly want to talk about Jamar Chase and why he would be a great selection at pick number 6. We have a little bit more free agency talk that I want to get into as well. Derek Barnett, it looks like they're trying to renegotiate that contract, give him a contract extension as opposed to trading him, which would be the difference between $10 million savings and $7 million savings. So $3 million, it's a big deal. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. And then also, they're also trying to work on restructuring Lane Johnson's contract as well. And will they work on trying to restructure Brandon Brooks' contract as well? Because that's also going to be a money saver there when we try to dwindle down this negative cap that we've got going on in the for our organization right now. And then I also want to talk about some potential free agency prove it deals. Some guys that we can go over, and some of those guys include running back Marlon Mack from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, obviously, bringing up Marlon Mack, he is a guy that they did draft quite a few years ago, and did quite well. He is somebody that we're probably well aware of, and with them drafting Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack is set to become a free agent. So he could be one of those guys that we could go ahead and pursue. And then also, cornerback Cameron Sutton out of Pittsburgh is going to be another one of those guys that we're just going to go ahead and talk about today. Cameron Sutton out of Pittsburgh. He is a guy that we could probably sign to a cheap deal, but he's also one of those guys that is a hybrid player. He can play many different levels. He can play many different positions at different levels of the defense for Jonathan Gannon. And so that's one of those guys that if we were able to get our hands on him, it might be a solid pickup. And obviously, as we've talked about before in previous streams, my priority is definitely Malik Hooker. So quite a few positions that we can address. And let's go ahead and just touch on that. Let's go ahead and jump into that one first while we're at it, because so Cameron Sutton, cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's one of those guys. He can play cornerback, he can play safety, and he's a pretty well-rounded, phenomenal hybrid player. And he would be really well used as a chess piece in Jonathan Gannon's defense. And so if we were able to pick him up, he would definitely add a suitable upgrade for our secondary. And then along the lines of safety Malik Hooker, to go along with that, is he would be one of those guys as well. As I've touched on to no end, he was his college coach compared to Ed Reed. Is he going to become the next? Is he going to have that sort of career trajectory? Probably not, but he still has the potential to be a top end talent safety. But coming off of an injury for him, we can probably get him on a cheap deal, and he would definitely supply upgrade in the secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Marlon Mack, as we just touched on, is another one. Look, we need a complimentary back to Miles Sanders. Marlon Mack can run with power. I've seen him do it. And we need kind of one of those guys. I honestly believe that they should re-sign Jordan Howard, and then bring in another back. The truth of the matter is we don't know the fate of Boston Scott, and I don't know if he'll be back on the team, but we definitely need somebody to help out and complement Miles Sanders. And whether that's two guys or whether that's just one other guy outside of Miles Sanders, I think adding Marlon Mack is not gonna hurt anybody, except for maybe our cap. But it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. So those are a couple of the prove it deals, and those guys are guys that we can get on short term, cheap deals, so to say. But if they play well, it could cause us some harms. Here's the thing, and here's the thing about prove it deals. We are not really in a state of needing to go and win now. We're not really in that state. plain and simple. So when you're adding guys like Marlon Mack, and you're adding guys like another one is James O'Shaughnessy, tight end, Jacksonville. When you're adding guys like that, through free agency, you're trying to add building blocks to go win now. You know what I mean? It's like what we saw in 2017, LeGarrette Blount, Chris Long. Like, we're not trying to do that. And my point of that is this. Let's say Marlon Mack plays well. We're not going to be able to pay Marlon Mack to keep him. And so then what? We lose Marlon Mack. And then the offense that was once versatile with Marlon Mack is no longer versatile because we no longer have Marlon Mack. That's one of the things that went wrong with this team when they tried to build it with Carson Wentz. The defense added Chris Long. Howie didn't build this thing the right way the first time. He didn't build it the right way the first time. The reason why he didn't build it the right way is because he failed in the draft, but he didn't build it the right way the first time. And you don't go out and get veterans all the time. Patrick Robinson was great. Shouldn't have let him go. He probably would still be here. I mean, he wasn't that old, but Chris Long was set to retire. Chris Long did retire. And like Garrett Blount went ahead and didn't do anything for the Lions the next year. It's as simple as that. You don't want to add a bunch of players on the brink of retiring. You don't want to get in the habit of doing that. You don't want to get in the habit of trying to squeeze out the last ounce of juice out of the juice box. You know what I mean? Because if they play well, and you want to keep them, then you're going to have to pay them, and you can't. And then once they're gone, you're going to lose that element that they brought in the first place, and then you're putting yourself in a position where you might not be as good without them. So there's that. Let's go ahead and talk about Derek Barnett. So they're looking to try. According to Bleacher Report, they are in talks to try and give him an extension as opposed to trading him. The difference is $10 million. So if we were to cut or if we were to trade him, it would be $10 million that we would save. If we just go ahead and negotiate him or extend him, it would be $7 million that we would save. So it's $3 million there. Look, it's not a bad idea. He's still a young player. He just needs to get himself out of the injury bug. Didn't play horribly last year, but needs to do a hell of a lot better for being a first round pick. And that's just my take on that. Jamarr Chase, look, I was listening to Louis Riddick talk about this morning. And look, as I've mentioned before, the debate is high and large and huge and wide. And is it going to be Kyle Pitts, Devontae Smith, or is it going to be Jamarr Chase or what? It completely slipped my mind that Jamarr Chase sat out this last year with due to COVID. He was one of those guys that wanted to protect himself and others around him, I assume. And in 2019, Jamarr Chase was the best wide receiver in the NCAA. Just plain and simple. Plain and simple. And listening to Louis Riddick, we saw the Vikings draft Justin Jefferson at LSU. Eagles fans everywhere wanted Justin Jefferson. We got Jalen Reagor. My hope is God forbid, if that Howie Roseman doesn't make the same mistake. If Jamarr Chase is there at 6, take the LSU wide receiver. Take the LSU wide receiver. History paints that LSU wide receivers usually always come out on top. You have Jarvis Landry. You have Odell Beckham Jr. Now you have Justin Jefferson, and there's others I'm missing. And now you got Jamar Chase. And they went on to talk about it this way: is if Jamar Chase didn't sit out this year, we could be talking about the second best player in this draft, right up there with Trevor Lawrence. We could be talking about a pick number 2, and the Jets could go with him at pick number 2. You know what I mean? They could do that. That is a possibility, but it would be unwise. It would be unwise for the Jets to do that. The Jets should take Zach Wilson. That's probably their wisest decision. That is the Jets' wisest decision. But if Jamar Chase is there at pick number 6 for the Philadelphia Eagles, they should take him. Now, Louis Riddick went on to say, like, if they take Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase, he would fall out of his chair. Now, I think that that's a little bit hyperbolic, but, because Kyle Pitts is a stud. Kyle Pitts is a stud. Plain and simple. Kyle Pitts is a stud. But if both of them are there on the board, Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in this class. Kyle Pitts, there can be an argument made that Kyle Pitts is the second best wide receiver in this class, and he's a tight end. But guess who's number 1? Jamar Chase. If he's there, go grab him. If he's there, go grab him. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I hope that Howie Roseman does not make the same decision that he made last year. I really don't. Look, and recency bias should not be a thing. Just because we took a wide receiver last year in the first round does not mean we should keep ourselves from taking a wide receiver this year in the first round. Plain and simple. It really is that simple. A couple other things that I want to get into as well is I recently saw a mock draft that had Kyle Trask falling to the Eagles at pick number 70 in the 3rd round, which would be our first of 2 third-round picks. And, one of my loyal subscribers, AJ Styles, loves Kyle Trask. And I could see that happening. I could forecast that. I could see that happening. I could also see Kyle Trask going in the 2nd round too, but it wouldn't shock me if he's still there on the board at pick number 70 for the Philadelphia Eagles to take him. And obvious reasons apply. Brian Johnson, his former offensive coordinator, is now our QB's coach. And if he's there, and we take him. And it's a good move. And Brian Johnson, if anybody knows how to get the most out of him, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me if that would be the pick if he's still there. And I would probably like that pick. I got to be completely honest with you. So, but let me do here one thing here. The other thing I want to talk about too, they're also in contract talks with Lane Johnson, and hopefully they can get that done. I do know this is that they are stampeding through this thing right now. Free agency is next week. They are stampeding through this entire thing, and they want to make sure that they get these guys done, renegotiated before the start of free agency, so that they have some room to work with. There's going to be guys that are going to there's going to be guys that are going to be there to be had. You know what I mean? Like a Hassan Reddick. There is no news on whether or not they're going to franchise tag him or not, and I don't think that they are. It would probably be a lot of money, so they don't want to do that. They just gave a lot of money to J.J. Watt. The Arizona Cardinals did. So Hassan Reddick's going to be there. Malik Hooker's going to be there. And as we just talked about, guys like Cameron Sutton are going to be there. If the Eagles wanted to add a wide receiver from free agency this year, they can. The list is strong, and does add veteran experience, and is going to be, and whoever we add from this list is going to be a solid contributor, and upgraded version of Alshon Jeffrey, to be completely honest. And I say Alshon Jeffrey because he's the only veteran wide receiver left on the outside of Marquise Goodwin, who I'm just not counting quite yet. Alshon Jeffrey is the only one left on the team that still has the veteran experience. And, we're talking about guys like Allen Robinson, and obviously we're probably not going to go ahead and get an Allen Robinson, but they could try. It wouldn't make sense. It's too much money. He's 28. There's Kenny Golladay. He's bound to be overpaid. You know what I mean? He's bound to be overpaid. There's T.Y. Hilton, who can still demand about $9 to $11 million. There's guys to be had, but should we go out and get one of these guys? That's the big question. That's the big question. I feel like they should at least go out and grab one of them for veteran experience. You know what I mean? And maybe T.Y. Hilton is that guy. He's longer in the tooth. I was talking to somebody who thinks that the Colts are still going to try and re-sign him, and I just don't see that happening. I see the Colts grabbing a playmaker for Carson Wentz in the first round. That makes sense to me. But I don't see them resigning T.Y. Hilton. So, we'll just have to. So T.Y. Hilton will be there, and obviously his link is linked to Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. So we'll just have to see. We will just have to see. But I do want to bring up this one thing. So this one thing is this. If Najee Harris is still on the board, and we talked about this in a stream ago, are you guys willing to take him? Do you guys want to take him? If Najee Harris is still on the board at pick 37, would you guys want to take him? Let me know what you think in the comment box below. Because if Najee Harris is still on the board at pick 37, I mean, that's kind of a blue chip player that you're grabbing there. And for some reason, I love Miles Sanders. I don't really have any doubts about Miles Sanders, but I am starting to worry a little. That's it. But maybe my worry is just coming from a sense of him not being used correctly over the last couple of years. That's it. So we'll just have to see. But anyway, this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. You guys have a happy Saturday. I probably will be with you tomorrow. So stay safe, stay healthy. One love, and go Birds, baby.